Hello, my name is Craig Linder with Get Wireless, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing video on the Assured Wireless AW12 HPUE Modem. What you see in front of me here is the kit, the AW12 HPUE Modem kit, which consists of the AW12 HPUE Modem, the Assured Wireless Ethernet Injector, which is a companion product to the HPUE Modem, and the vehicle installation kit. Before we get started, a little bit about what HPUE is. HPUE stands for High Power User Equipment, and Assured Wireless manufactures products that transmit on band 14 at a higher power than standard user equipment. For band 14, using FirstNet Mega Range, they transmit at 31 dBm, which is Class 1 power transmission. On all the other bands besides band 14, the device transmits at power class 3, which is 23 dBm. So with FirstNet Mega Range, we can actually get on band 14 1.8 times away from the tower that we can with standard user equipment. So there's a great advantage for first responders to be using HPUE capable devices when they're responding to emergencies. And with that, we'll get started with the unboxing. So here we have the HPUE Modem by Assured Wireless. The box is covered by a sleeve, so we will carefully slide the box out of the sleeve. We'll set that over here, and we'll pop the box open. And the first thing that we see when we open the box is the Assured Wireless support documentation card. We turn it over, we see a QR code that can be scanned with a scanner or your phone, and that will take you directly to the Assured Wireless Product Support website. There's a lot of great information there. There's integration guides, there's get started user guides, there's the driver to install on a laptop or a computer that's going to have a direct connect to the AW12. So this is a really handy QR code that gets you to the proper place for documentation. We'll set that aside. Next, we have the box that contains the Assured Wireless HPUE Modem. Pop that open. We have a filler space over here, and here we actually have the sleeve that contains the AW12. Slide that right out. And we're looking at the Assured Wireless AW12 HPUE Modem. You'll notice we have 4 antenna ports across the front. 3 of those are for LTE, and 1 is for GNSS, or satellite. The three LTE ports is different than your standard LTE products that have 2 antenna ports for MIMO, multiple in, multiple out. The reason we actually have 3 is because we have the center port is dedicated for band 14. The filtering and the amplification that's specific for band 14 routing inside the modem uses its own antenna port. So we use an antenna with 3 LTE elements rather than 2 for the Assured Wireless HPUE Modem. Then we have a GNSS port, which gets a connection to the satellite constellation around the globe, and that is used to speed up the acquisition of signal for the AW12. That's its primary use. So we use antennas that have 3 LTE elements and 1 GNSS element for the AW12. Get Wireless stocks antennas from AirGain and also Parsec Technologies that support this configuration. When we turn it around, we have a 2-pin power port. 1 pin is for 12 volts and 1 is for ground. It's a threaded port. We have a USB port, and that USB port is actually the data port for the HPUE modem. It does not have a native Ethernet port like some modems and routers, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But we do use an USB port as our data connection. We also have the SIM slot here, and it has a little hole, and then we actually have a tool that comes in the box, and that tool is what we use. It's typical for cell phones, and then you use that to poke it to push the SIM door out so you can put your SIM card in the AW12 HPUE modem. As you look at the device, it's got a lot of heat sinking. It's robust, and because it does put out high power on band 14 at 31 dBm, it gets a little warmer than other standard user equipment would. You can see we have some mounting flanges or mounting holes in the flanges here as well. And then also in the box, we have 2 cables. We have a power cable And that power cable connects directly to this threaded power cable here, and it has two leads here that would connect directly into a DC power bus to give the 12-volt power to the AW12 modem. And then we also have a USB cable. It has a Type-C connection on one side to connect into the AW12 HPUE modem, and then it has a Type-A standard rectangular USB connection on the other side, which would interface to your laptop or your PC for a direct data connection from the AW12 HPUE modem. Next, we'll do an unboxing on the Assured Wireless Ethernet Injector, which is the partner product to the HPUE AW12 modem. Like the AW12 HPUE modem, we have a sleeve over the box, so we'll carefully slide that sleeve off. Put that over here. And then we'll pop the box open. First thing we see is the support documentation card, like we saw with the HPUE modem, that has the QR code on there. Takes you to that support site where you can access all the Get Started documentation. Next, we have the Ethernet injector box. We'll pop that open. We have a sleeve in there. And then we slide out the Ethernet injector. And we'll set this to the side for now. And this is what the Ethernet injector looks like. We'll start with this side. The Ethernet injector has a USB port, a Type-A USB port, and it has a 2-pin power plug. So when these are used together, and they're designed to be used together, they would mount in an orientation similar to this, where we can actually connect the USB ports and the power ports. Let me talk a little bit about the function of the Ethernet injector. The Ethernet injector has a number of functions. One function is that it actually translates the data port type from USB to Ethernet. So when used together, we start to get an interface that looks a little more like modems and routers that we're accustomed to seeing with that Ethernet interface. It also does power conditioning. So when used in a mobile environment, oftentimes the DC power can have spikes on it. It can be somewhat dirty. And the Ethernet injector does a nice job of filtering off all those spikes and conditioning that power to make it acceptable for the AW12. And then we also, you will notice when you look at the Ethernet injector, the power in to the Ethernet injector has 4 pins rather than just 2. And that's because in addition to 12 volts and ground, we add ignition sense and sleep sense. Ignition sense is where we connect to the ignition bus of a vehicle, and when the car gets turned off, then that instructs the Ethernet injector to cut power to the AW12, and so we're not using up battery power and then having a dead battery in the morning. Sleep sense is a connection to an accompanying modem, and if that modem shuts off, that tells the Ethernet injector to shut down and also shut power off to the AW12 again, so you're not using battery that doesn't need to be used. So these are designed to work together, and there are also cables in the box. So we start with a 4-pin cable, and this has, like I said, 4 DC pins to route what we talked about: DC 12 volts, ground, sleep sense, and ignition sense to the proper places if they're being used. And then we also have the power cable that routes the DC power to the 2-pin output power on the Ethernet injector for routing that conditioned power. And then we have the USB cable that routes our USB Type-C connection to our USB Type-A connection. So those are the 3 cables in the box. And now we will do an unboxing of the Assured Wireless Vehicle Installation Kit. The box is covered by a sleeve like the other 2 boxes, so we'll pull that sleeve off and we'll pop the box open. The first thing we have is the product support documentation card that has the QR code on it. It's the same as the other 2 boxes, takes you right to where you need to be on the website to access the Get Started documentation. And the first thing we'll take a peek at is the actual mounting plate. So this mounting plate is pre-drilled for these 2 devices over here. I'll put this box off just to the side for a second. And we can take these 2 devices. The holes are pre-drilled and pre-threaded, so this is exactly how they mount on this vehicle installation plate. And once they're aligned, we have hardware in the box that is perfectly suited for securing these devices to the mounting plate. And instead of using the longer cables that came with the Ethernet injector, which were 6 feet each, we actually have shortened cables. So we have a shortened power cable that connects the power out of the Ethernet injector into the power in of the AW12. So it's a nice, succinct, integrated arrangement. And then we have a shortened USB cable that routes the data out of the AW12 HPUE modem to the USB Type A port on the Ethernet injector. And so that is all of the contents that's included in the vehicle installation kit. Together, this brings everything together in a nice compact package, and then we can use the holes that are pre-cut into the installation plate, the vehicle installation plate, to mount this in a trunk or wherever is appropriate in the vehicle or the stationary application. Well, that concludes the unboxing video for the Assured Wireless AW12 HPUE modem, the Ethernet injector, and the vehicle installation kit. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to your sales representative and they can pull me into a conversation and we can get your questions answered. Thank you very much for your time today and have a nice day.